Apparently, a video made its way around on Carson Cooper, and people are pretty excited about that video. Your thoughts?
This stems from wanting every single player just to break out and be this great Big Ten player. It seems that like the theme over the summer is like everyone wants Trey Holloman to be the breakout guy. Everyone wants Carson Cooper to be the breakout guy. It's just like what there's a world like Carson Cooper's breakout season next year, and this is not me being a hater, but he averaged 1-1 last year. And yes, it was in limited minutes, but if he averages 5-5 this year, that's technically a breakout season for him. And it's just, I don't understand why sometimes Michigan State's fan base, Michigan State people want to latch themselves to like the lower level players and hoping that they just make these extreme jumps when there could be maybe be more energy focused on let's hope Xavier Booker ends up being that guy because every time I speak about Michigan State reaching their ceiling and where they need to be in a world where I can control what happens, Xavier Booker ends up being the best big out of everyone in our front court rotation. I think that's what would lead Michigan State to the most success at that position and also the most team success. So it's just like everyone wants Cooper to do this. Everyone wants Cooper to be this great guy. No one brings up Kohler. No one even just everyone just lets Mady just be Mady. Like no one says anything bad about him. They just let him rock. But everyone's just propping up Cooper to be the next center of this team. And it's just like one, it's not realistic, and two, it's not fair to Cooper either. Like, why are we just expecting this guy just to come in and be our savior at center when he should not be that guy? That's not fair to him. I like Cooper as a rotational big, but if he's our starting center and our major majority minutes at big, I think that's a bad basketball team. So it's just, I guess it kind of goes off to your last time, just being rooted a little bit more in reality. I understand it feels good to get behind a guy and like be that low recruit guy who works real hard and makes a great ascent through his career. The thing that irks me the most about the Carson Cooper comparisons is that people's like, oh, he can have the Matt Costello path. Did y'all not know who Matt Costello was? Matt Costello was a top 50 player in the country. Matt Costello was Mr. Basketball. Matt Costello was a bad motherfucker when he came into Michigan State. It just took him a little while to get together. Like he was that, but it just took him a little couple more years to get together. We don't even know Carson Cooper is that. So I just want people to reel it back a little bit and reel it back, just not in the being based in reality, but reel it back that it's not even fair to Carson Cooper to expect these things out of him. Let's just wait and see. Let's see what he has. But at the same time, if I'm a Michigan State fan, I am hoping that Xavier Booker is everything that they said he can be and he reaches his potential because that will make this team that much more dangerous if he can be that center for our team.
Here's just a couple players that Carson Cooper had a lower defensive rebounding rate than in the past couple years. Tum Tum Nairn, Xavier Simpson, Cassius Winston. He had a 1% higher defensive rebounding rate, 1% higher than Tyler Ulis did. This kid has to show us. And maybe he will, right? Maybe he will. I'm not going to write him off and say he can't do it. But the fascinating thing about the way the hype train has taken off on Carson to me is that it feels like it's at the expense of the other guys in the front court
Yes.
situation to me.
Yes.
Which I don't think is like always the case with who Michigan State fans hype up or fans in general hype up, but this one feels very unique in the sense that it's like we're in on Carson Cooper because we're out on these other guys. And I don't think anyone's necessarily out on Xavier Booker yet. But there is, you would admit this, like there's been a lot of change from how Xavier Booker was talked about when Michigan State was recruiting him to after he signed with Michigan State. It almost flipped on the dot from like, this guy's everything we need in the front court to like, well, there's a lot of concerns here. Like we got to worry about the motor. He's probably a 4. He's a 2-year guy at minimum. Like that was not what was being talked about Xavier Booker when he was being recruited. And I get he fell in the rankings, but like it flipped, and I don't know why it flipped after he signed. Mady, everyone's just out on for the most part, even I think like that doesn't mean they're rooting negatively against him or going to say things publicly negatively, but I think the fan base in general, it doesn't necessarily want to see Mady Sissoko start at center. Jackson, everybody's turned on. And that's the one I don't get is like, if you're in on Cooper's potential, I don't understand why you're out on Jackson's potential. And, you know, I've made jokes about it. Like there's this little prominent hive of Michigan State social media fans that think they have all this influence. And in this sense, they kind of do have influence. Like that hive seems to have been the group that is in on Carson and out on Kohler. And that's what everyone has adopted now because they see these quote unquote influencers sharing these videos and hyping up empty gym dunks from Carson and not doing the same for Jackson. So Jackson is a more prestigious player. I thought we saw more from Jackson last year than we did from Carson. I know there was like a 2-minute stretch in the Carson NCAA tournament game, like where he looked like something, right? We also got that from Jackson. Let's just not forget that. And if I had to put my chips behind one of the two to become a quality Big Ten center one day, I'm still standing behind Jackson Kohler. In fact, I'm doubling down on that. I'm taking my chips. I'm looking at the banker and I'm saying, can I press right now? And I'm not doing that on Carson. Like I'm cashing out on Carson. I'm selling high on Carson right now.
Yeah, and then, you know, if you want to do the 2-minute clip comparison thing, like I can bring up a 2-minute clip of Jackson Kohler having Trace Jackson Davis in hell on both ends of the floor, and to me that trumps Carson Cooper's tip dunk against USC and his wall up against Joshua Morgan. Like it's I don't know, it's just crazy. It's just so much of a narrative I think being pushed. And it's not fair. I don't think it's fair to Jackson. I don't even think it's fair to the person whose agenda is being pushed. I don't think it's fair to Carson Cooper to push that agenda on him. So it's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe chalk it up to it being a very slow time, nothing going on right now. But it's just like the gushing over Carson Cooper hitting hook shots in an empty gym is just not doing it for me. Like that happens and everyone's blowing up. But Jackson Kohler has 55 and wins Moneyball MVP in Atlanta.
On Xavier Booker, by the way. On Xavier Booker.
No, relax. No one cares. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, I don't
know. I will just say I liked the video. I liked the Carson Cooper video. I mean that genuinely too. Like I thought he looked pretty good. But I'm not making sweeping judgments. That's the thing. It's like I can sit there and look at the video and be like, oh, that was pretty nice.
If I squint really hard, it looked like saltine cracker Kiel Ware.
Okay. Last thing for me on all this, I think opposing fans or just unbiased national partisans would say these fan bases are equally delusional for these two. Like I think Michigan State fans looking at Michigan fans thinking Com was the top 3 player in the league would obviously correctly be like, these guys are such idiots. Michigan fans are doing the same thing about the way Michigan State fans are talking about Carson Cooper. And they're both right for the record. Like the hype train needs to slow down.
One is worse than the other in my eyes.
We can debate that. Again, one's an actual tangible college basketball player and one's not. So I think they're both equally delusional. That's my stance. And somebody tagged Justin Rose, by the way. Justin Rose out here caping. Hey, where's the podcast? Imagine if there was a world where there's a podcast between a Michigan fan and a Michigan State fan who hold their teams accountable, who are objective no matter what. Justin, you're a few years late to the party, my friend, but welcome. Run this episode back from the top and let us know what you think, by the way. And we like tweeted him from the Sleepers account. And he was like, we said, somebody tell him, or who wants to tell him? And he said, why don't you guys tell me? I just told you, my friend. Okay. You've followed Greg Waddell on Twitter for the last couple of years. I know you've seen some of these clips. Don't act like you don't know, my friend. I don't know what's going on in Justin Rose headquarters right now, but, man, a contentious Wednesday, Cart. Can we do a check-in? How you feeling right now? You feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm not feeling that good too because my one big thing ain't gonna make it any better.